Let us start chemistry salt analysis. In the salt analysis, let us continue dry heating test. In the dry heating test, colorless gas and odorless gas, for which possibility water and another one is carbon dioxide gas. Now, which salts can give carbon dioxide gas in dry heating test? Which salts can give carbon dioxide gas in dry heating test? That is carbonates. Carbonates on decomposition. Carbonates on decomposition gives carbon dioxide gas. Carbonates on decomposition gives carbon dioxide gas. Which carbonates? All the metal carbonates. All the metal carbonates. All the metal carbonates on decomposition gives carbon dioxide gas. What is the exception? Exception is alkali metal carbonates. Alkali metal carbonates, they are sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium. These are exception. Now alkali metal carbonates. In the alkali metal carbonates, mainly sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium, not lithium. These metal carbonates, for example sodium carbonate, on heating, what happens? It is not undergoing decomposition. It is not undergoing decomposition. Instead of that, it is going for melting. It is going for melting. That means melting temperature is less than that of decomposition temperature. Even at 1000 temperature, this sodium carbonate do not undergo decomposition. Instead of that, it will undergo melting. It will melt. So alkali metal carbonates. In the alkali metal carbonates, sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium. These metal carbonates do not undergo decomposition. Rest of the metal carbonates undergo decomposition to give carbon dioxide gas. Okay. So generally metal carbonates on decomposition gives carbon dioxide gas. Exception is alkali metal carbonates. In the alkali metal carbonates, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium coming under exception. The mentioned alkali metal carbonates do not undergo decomposition. Instead, it will go for melting because melting temperature is less than that of decomposition temperature. Therefore, we can say alkali metal carbonates do not undergo decomposition except lithium. Sorry. So metal carbonates on decomposition gives carbon dioxide gas. Okay. Next we will take sulfite salt. Sulfite salt. Sulfite formula is SO3 2-. Sulfite formula is SO3 2-. The sulfite salt on dry heating gives sulfur dioxide gas. Sulfur dioxide gas. What is the test for sulfur dioxide gas? What is the color of this gas? Color of this gas is colorless. Now you are asking a question that what is the difference between melting and decomposition? Melting in the sense solid is converting into liquid. Decomposition in the sense it breaking. Decomposition in the sense compound is breaking into different compounds. That is decomposition. Decomposition means breaking. Melting in the sense solid is converting into liquid. Sorry. Now, sulfite salt on decomposition on dry heating gives sulfur dioxide gas. Sulfur dioxide gas is colorless and it is having pungent smell, that is suffocating odor. Suffocating means breathing trouble. Sorry. Now, what are the tests for sulfur dioxide? One is sulfur dioxide takes moisture and becomes sulfurous acid. Sulfurous acid gives H plus ions, H plus ions and HSO3 minus ions. HSO3 minus ions on ionization gives H plus ions and SO3 2 minus ions. Due to H plus, this sulfur dioxide turns blue litmus into red litmus. It is turning blue litmus into red litmus. Sorry. So sulfur dioxide turns blue litmus into red litmus because sulfur dioxide is acidic oxide. Acidic oxide. Then it shows lime water test as like carbon dioxide. It responds lime water as like carbon dioxide. The test is lime water, calcium hydroxide aqueous. It takes sulfur dioxide gas to give milky precipitate. The milky precipitate is calcium sulfite. This milky precipitate disappears with the excess of sulfur dioxide gas due to formation of calcium bisulfite. Calcium bisulfite. This calcium bisulfite gives back milky precipitate. On heating. So this sulfur dioxide gas shows lime water test as like carbon dioxide. Then what is how to distinguish carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide? Carbon dioxide is odorless, sulfur dioxide is suffocating odor. Sorry. Next test we will see. Test for sulfur dioxide continuation we will see. We will take a acidified dichromate we will take. Acidified dichromate we will take. Dichromate is orange in color, to which sulfur dioxide gas let us pass. Sulfur dioxide gas we are passing. Now sulfur dioxide gas we will see. In sulfur dioxide gas, sulfur atomic number is 16, electronic configuration is neon 3s2 3p4. Neon 3s2 3p4. So 3s is having 2 electrons, 3p is having 4 electrons. 3p is having 4 electrons. Now this ground state configuration says that this sulfur is having 2 unpaired electrons. Therefore, it can show oxidation number either -2 or +2. -2 by gaining 2 electrons by getting octet. +2 by losing 2 electrons through covalent bonding. Next, first excited state. First excited state will take. In the first excited state, 1 electron from 3p goes to 3d. 1 electron from 3p goes to 3d. In the second excited state, 4 unpaired electrons. In the first excited state, 4 unpaired electrons. So it can show +4 oxidation state. Sulfur can show +4 oxidation state. Then second excited state. Now let us say now this 3s electron goes to 3d. 3s electron goes to 3d. So number of unpaired electrons becomes 6. So sulfur can show +6 oxidation number. In sulfur dioxide, sulfur oxidation number is +4. So +4 in the sense the +4 is a sulfur oxidation number. So sulfur can decrease oxidation number from +4 to -2 or +2. or increase its oxidation number to +6. So for sulfur, two possibilities are there in sulfur dioxide. It can increase its oxidation number or it can decrease its oxidation number. So it can undergo either oxidation or reduction, which depends on that it's another molecule. So in sulfur dioxide, sulfur can undergo either reduction or oxidation. It will undergo which in the sense that depends on another substance that is a dichromate. Okay. Now regarding dichromate, we'll see. Now we will take chromium. Chromium atomic number 24. Electronic configuration is argon 3d5 4s2. In dichromate, chromium oxidation number is +6. Now +6 oxidation number. Here one correction is there. Correction is 4s2, not 4s1. 4s1. In chromium, here chromium is having +6 oxidation number. So chromium +6 having electronic configuration argon 3d0 4s0. So chromium +6 is having stable configuration, that is argon configuration. So chromium +6 can undergo only reduction, oxidation not possible. It can undergo reduction, oxidation not possible. Why it is not going for oxidation means, since it is having noble gas configuration, it cannot undergo oxidation. Only possibility reduction. It can gain electrons, that's all. So in dichromate, chromium undergoes reduction. So in sulfur dioxide, sulfur undergoes oxidation. Okay. So chromium undergoes reduction. Reduction in the sense +6 oxidation number getting reduced. +6 oxidation number getting reduced. +6 oxidation number getting reduced means now which oxidation state it will convert? To which oxidation state it will convert? Sir, in chromium, what are the stable oxidation states? That we will see. So for chromium, stable oxidation states. For chromium, stable oxidation states. Stable oxidation states +3 and +6. For chromium, stable oxidation states +3 and +6. Sir, now here chromium is having +6 oxidation number. It is undergoing reduction means it will convert into +3 oxidation number. +3 oxidation number. So chromium undergoes reduction. Now sulfur dioxide. In sulfur dioxide, oxidation is possible since it undergoes reduction. So it is undergoing oxidation means sulfur +4 oxidation number will convert into +6 oxidation number. +6 oxidation number is sulfate. +6 oxidation number is sulfate. In sulfate, sulfur oxidation number is +6. Sulfur oxidation number is +6. So acidified dichromate with sulfur dioxide gas. Dichromate undergoes a reduction, so it is converting into Cr3+, which is green. Sulfur dioxide undergoes oxidation, so it is converting into sulfate. Sulfate is colorless. Therefore, the orange is converting into green by passing sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide turns orange acidified dichromate into green Cr3+. It is one of the tests for sulfur dioxide. Next test for sulfur dioxide. Next test for sulfur dioxide we will see. We will take acidified permanganate. Acidified permanganate we will take. Permanganate formula is MnO4-. To this, let us pass sulfur dioxide gas. Now, which will undergo reduction, which will undergo oxidation, we'll see. Manganese atomic number 25. Its electronic configuration is argon 3d5 4s2. 3d5 4s2. Here manganese is having +7 oxidation number. Manganese +7. Electronic configuration is argon 3d0 4s0. So Mn+7 can undergo only reduction. Reduction possible. It can gain electrons. it cannot undergo oxidation. It cannot undergo oxidation. Why it cannot undergo oxidation? Because it is having stable electronic configuration argon, so it is unable to donate electron cloud. So it cannot undergo oxidation. So it can undergo only reduction. Sir. So for manganese, what are the possible oxidation states? +2, +4, +6, +7. Among these, +2 is having stable. Therefore, this +7 is converting into +2. +7 is converting into +2. Sorry. Now, the stability depends on medium. The stability of oxidation state depends on medium. In acidic medium, it is stable. So +7 is converting into +2. In basic medium, strongly basic medium, it is stable. So +7 is converting into +6. In neutral medium, +4 is stable. So +7 is converting into +4. +4, MnO2, manganese dioxide is the example. MnO2, manganese dioxide is the example. In MnO2, manganese oxidation number is +4. MnO2 you can see in the Leclanche cell, dry cell. In the dry cell, black powder will be there inside it, which is MnO2. Sorry. So here permanganate we have taken. Permanganate Mn is +7 oxidation number. It is undergoing reduction, only possibility reduction. In acidic medium, it is converting into +2 because it is stable. So permanganate undergoes reduction to give Mn +2. So sulfur dioxide undergoes oxidation. Therefore, it is converting into sulfate. Okay. This permanganate is purple in color. This Mn2 plus is light pink. Mn2 plus is light pink. Sorry. Now we will take the salt is MnSO4. We will take a salt. We will take a salt MnSO4. MnSO4 is light pink. MnSO4 is light pink. If you observe MnSO4 carefully, then you can see light pink color. If you see MnSO4 from distant, it will appear as a colorless. If you observe it by closely, then you can see light pink color. On dissolving MnSO4 in water, it will look like a colorless because intensity of pink color is less. So this Mn2 plus in the solution will not exhibit color. Mn2 plus in the solution will not exhibit color. Actually, it is exhibiting. What color it exhibits? Light pink color. But it is not visible because of a lower intensity. Because of lower intensity, it is not visible. Okay. So due to passage of sulfur dioxide gas into permanganate, its color disappears. Its color disappears. So disappearance of decolorization of permanganate. Decolorization of permanganate can be done by passing sulfur dioxide gas. So it is also a test for sulfur dioxide. So what are the tests for sulfur dioxide in the sense? One is litmus paper, litmus test. Sulfur dioxide test is litmus test. Next test is lime water test. Lime water test. Next one is acidified dichromate test. Acidified dichromate test. Next one is acidified permanganate test. Acidified permanganate test. So in the litmus test, sulfur dioxide turns blue litmus into red. In the lime water test, sulfur dioxide gives first milky precipitate, then milky precipitate disappears, then milky precipitate again reappears. In acidified dichromate, orange color of dichromate is converting into green color of Cr3+. In acidified permanganate, purple color of permanganate is converting into light pink of Mn2+. Okay. So sulfur dioxide showing such a type of chemical reactions. So we will take these are a test for a sulfur dioxide. Okay. Let us go for a next anion. We will take a salt that is sulfide salt. sulfide salt. Sulfide salt on dry heating gives hydrogen sulfide gas. Sulfide salt on dry heating gives hydrogen sulfide gas. Sulfide salt on dry heating gives hydrogen sulfide gas. Now this hydrogen sulfide in the presence of moisture, in the presence of water, it ionizes to give H plus and HS minus ion. HS minus is called bisulfide. Bisulfide on ionization gives H plus and sulfide. Due to H plus, acidic nature is there, therefore it is it turns blue litmus into red. So blue litmus turns to red. Okay, so H2S gas. H2S gas turns moist blue litmus into red. Okay. Next test for hydrogen sulfide. Next test for hydrogen sulfide. Acidified dichromate. Acidified dichromate with hydrogen sulfide. Acidified dichromate with hydrogen sulfide. Dichromate can undergo only reduction into Cr3 plus. Dichromate in acidic medium undergoes reduction to give Cr3 plus. In hydrogen sulfide, sulfur is having -2 oxidation number. Sulfur minimum oxidation number is -2. For sulfur, minimum oxidation number is -2. So sulfur can undergo only oxidation. There is no other possibility for sulfur here because it is in minimum oxidation number. Since it undergoes oxidation, its oxidation number increases. Oxidation number increases in the sense possibility 0, +2, +4 and +6. These are the possibilities. Sulfur oxidation number increases in the sense its oxidation number increases to 0, +2, +4, +6. Here we have to remember that the possibility is 0. So what is the substance precipitated in the sense sulfur is precipitated. So remember that sulfur oxidation number changes from -2 to 0. Sulfur is precipitating here. Okay. So acidified dichromate undergoes reduction to give Cr3 plus. Cr3 plus is green. Acidified dichromate, dichromate crystals orange. Hydrogen sulfide undergoes oxidation to give sulfur, sulfur precipitate. So dichromate orange is becoming green Cr3 plus. Hydrogen sulfide is converting into sulfur precipitate. Sulfur precipitate. Then with acidified permanganate, how the reaction is there? With acidified permanganate, how the reaction is there, we'll see. Now we will take acidified permanganate. Acidified permanganate with hydrogen sulfide gas. Now manganese undergoing reduction. In acidic medium it gives Mn2 plus. Hydrogen sulfide undergoes oxidation to give sulfur precipitate. Sulfur precipitate. So hydrogen sulfide H2S turns permanganate into Mn+2. Hydrogen sulfide itself undergoes oxidation to give sulfur precipitate. Then we will take lead acetate solution. Lead acetate solution will take. Lead acetate solution we are taking. To this we are passing H2S gas. On passing H2S gas, this Pb2 plus, this plumbus takes sulfide and becomes a PbS black precipitate. PbS black precipitate. Here Pb is having +2 oxidation number. It takes sulfur -2 oxidation number and precipitate as PbS, which is black in color. Now this acetate with this H plus becomes acetic acid. Acetate is taking H plus and becomes acetic acid. So lead acetate solution becomes PbS black. This lead acetate is colorless. H2S also colorless. So this colorless here black precipitate PbS. So now sulfide salt gives H2S gas on dry heating. For H2S gas, what are the tests? One is a litmus test. Next one is a dichromate test, acidified dichromate test. Next one is a acidified permanganate test. Acidified permanganate test. Next one is a lead acetate test. Lead acetate test. Okay. So for hydrogen sulfide, for sulfide salt test, we have got an idea. Next, we'll take ammonium salt. Ammonium salt. Ammonium salt on dry heating. Ammonium salt on dry heating gives ammonia gas. Ammonium salt on dry heating gives ammonia gas. Ammonium salt on dry heating gives ammonia gas. What is the test for ammonia gas? This ammonia takes water to give ammonium hydroxide. Ammonium hydroxide is a base which ionizes partially to give ammonium ions and hydroxide ions. Since it is base, it converts red litmus into blue. It turns red litmus into blue. So red litmus is converting into blue litmus. Okay. Now we will take a test tube. In the test tube, we will take ammonium salt. We are taking ammonium salt here. It is ammonium salt. Ammonium salt we have taken. This is placed over flame. It is placed over flame. Now ammonia gas, ammonia vapors comes from this. Ammonia vapors comes from this. Ammonia vapors comes from this. Now we will take a glass rod. The glass rod is dipped in HCl. The glass rod is dipped in HCl, which is the glass rod is dipped in HCl, which is placed here. Which is placed. Now in the glass rod, at the tip, what is there? Here, what is there in the sense HCl? HCl is there. Now HCl combines with ammonia. HCl combines with ammonia to give ammonium chloride. HCl is acid, ammonia is base. So acid-base reaction gives ammonium chloride. This ammonium chloride is white fumes. Ammonium chloride is white fumes. Ammonia is colorless, HCl is colorless, ammonium chloride is white fumes. So here at this place white fumes appears. At this place white fumes appear. At this place white fumes appear. Okay. So ammonia with HCl gives ammonium chloride white fumes. Next, test with a Nessler's reagent. Next, test with a Nessler's reagent. Now we will see how to prepare Nessler's reagent. Let us see how to prepare Nessler's reagent. To prepare Nessler's reagent, we are taking HgCl2 mercury chloride. To this potassium iodide solution is added. Now this mercuric cation takes iodide ion to give a mercuric iodide red precipitate. Mercuric iodide red precipitate. This mercuric iodide with the excess of potassium iodide gives a complex. The complex is K2HgI4, which is a soluble complex. Which is a soluble complex. This soluble complex with a base potassium hydroxide is called a Nessler's reagent. Now here we are getting complex. Complex is what? K2HgI4. K2HgI4 with alkali medium, with the basic medium is gives a resultant solution. The resultant solution is called a Nessler's reagent. So Nessler's reagent is a alkaline solution of K2HgI4. K2HgI4. Now we will take this Nessler's reagent. We are taking Nessler's reagent which is a complex. The complex formula is K2HgI4. It is in basic medium. To this let us pass ammonia vapors. We are passing ammonia vapors. What is the result? The brown precipitate we are getting. We are getting brown precipitate. We are getting brown precipitate. The brown precipitate formula. The brown precipitate formula. Here oxygen. Here and both sides mercury. Both sides mercury. This side NH2 and this side I. This side iodide. This is called this is only brown precipitate. It is called millions of base. It is called millions of base. So Nessler's reagent, ammonia gas is passed into alkaline solution of Nessler's reagent. We are getting brown precipitate. In the brown precipitate, oxygen atom is there. On either side of oxygen, mercury is present. This side of mercury NH2 and right side of mercury iodine. Now This is called a brown precipitate. This millions of bases appearing in the form of brown precipitate. These are the tests for ammonia. So what are the tests for ammonia? One is a litmus test. One is a litmus test. Next one is with HCl vapors gives white fumes ammonium chloride. With next with Nessler's reagent, with Nessler's reagent gives brown precipitate. These are the tests for ammonia. Next, we will take a chloride salt. We are taking a chloride salt. Chloride salt on dry heating can give one possibility HCl vapors. Another possibility Cl2 gas. Another possibility Cl2 gas. So chloride salt on dry heating can give HCl vapors, otherwise chlorine gas. So some chloride salts on dry heating gives HCl vapors, some chloride salts on dry heating gives chlorine gas, Cl2 gas. Okay. If it gives HCl vapors, what is the result? What is the test? HCl vapors are colorless and pungent odor. HCl vapors are colorless and pungent odor. Now test for HCl. One is litmus test. It turns acidic blue litmus into red litmus. With ammonia, it gives white fumes. Next, with the silver nitrate, we will see HCl with the silver nitrate solution. HCl with the silver nitrate solution. Now this Ag plus and this Cl minus becomes a AgCl white precipitate. AgCl white precipitate plus a HNO3. Now this white precipitate dissolves in dilute ammonia. This white precipitate dissolves in dilute ammonia to form a complex. The complex is a Ag NH3 twice Cl. This complex is formed. This complex is quite soluble. This complex is quite soluble. In this test, let us see again. We are taking HCl vapors. This HCl vapors is passed into AgNO3 solution. We are getting white precipitate. White precipitate is AgCl. AgCl white precipitate dissolves in dilute ammonia in order due to formation of complex. The complex is AgNH3 twice Cl. AgNH3 twice Cl. Okay. Now chloride salt. Some of the chloride salts may give chlorine gas. Some of the chloride salts may give chlorine gas, Cl2 gas. That is also possible. Sir, if the chloride salt which gives HCl vapors, for that what is the test? One is blue litmus into red. With ammonia gives white fumes, ammonium chloride. With the silver nitrate gives AgCl white precipitate, which is dissolving dilute ammonia due to formation of complex. Complex is AgNH3 twice Cl, which is a soluble complex. Next, we will take bromide salts. We will take bromide salts. Some of the bromide salts on dry heating gives HBr vapors. HBr vapors. Some of the bromide salts on dry heating gives bromine. Some of the bromide salts on dry heating gives bromine. Okay. Now we will take HBr vapors. HBr vapors will take. HBr vapors are colorless. HBr vapors are colorless and pungent odor. HBr vapors are colorless and pungent odor. HBr is acid, therefore it turns litmus. It turns blue litmus into red. HBr is acid, therefore it turns blue litmus into red. Next, silver nitrate solution test we will see. HBr vapors is passed into silver nitrate solution. Now this Ag plus and this Br minus combining to give AgBr precipitate, which is yellow. AgBr precipitate we are getting. AgBr precipitate is yellow. That yellow color intensity is low. How that yellow color intensity is there means like pale yellow. To this AgBr, concentrated ammonia is added. AgBr dissolves due to formation of complex. The complex is AgNH3 twice Br. AgNH3 twice Br, which is a soluble complex. Now HBr with the silver nitrate gives AgBr pale yellow precipitate. AgBr dissolves in concentrated ammonia due to formation of complex which is AgNH3 twice Br. So HBr test for HBr is one is blue litmus into red, another one is with silver nitrate. With the silver nitrate solution gives AgBr pale yellow precipitate which dissolves in concentrated ammonia due to formation of complex. Okay. Next we will take iodide salt. We are taking a iodide salt. Iodide salt on dry heating gives one possibility HI vapors. One possibility HI vapors, another possibility Hi2. Another possibility Hi2. Now HI vapors. HI vapors are colorless. HI vapors are colorless and pungent odor. And pungent odor. Now HI is converting blue litmus into red. Blue litmus into red. This HI vapors passed into silver nitrate solution. Silver nitrate solution. This Ag plus and this I minus becomes Ag high, which is yellow precipitate. Which is yellow precipitate. This with ammonia, there is no solubility. There is no solubility. No dissolution. No dissolution. It is not dissolving with ammonia. It is not dissolving with ammonia. Sir, okay. So we have taken three salts. We have taken three halide salts. What are the three halide salts? One is chloride salt. Next one is bromide salt. Next one is iodide salt. This chloride salt gives HCl vapors. Chloride salt gives HCl vapors. Bromide salt gives HBr vapors. Iodide salt gives HI vapors. HCl is colorless. HBr is colorless. HI also colorless. HCl is pungent odor. HBr is pungent odor. HI also pungent odor. It turns blue litmus into red. Similarly, HBr. Similarly, HI. All are converting blue litmus into red. Then it is this with ammonia gives white fumes, ammonium chloride. This with silver nitrate gives AgCl precipitate. This with silver nitrate gives AgCl precipitate. This AgCl precipitate dissolves in ammonia due to formation of complex. The complex is AgNH3 twice plus. Okay. Now HBr with the silver nitrate gives AgBr pale yellow precipitate. This with concentrated ammonia gives complex. Therefore, it is soluble. That complex is AgNH3 twice Br. Now HI. HI with the silver nitrate gives AgI yellow precipitate. It is not dissolving even in concentrated ammonia. AgI is not dissolving even in concentrated ammonia. So we have seen a halide test. Halide in the sense halide chloride, bromide, iodide. Chloride gives HCl vapors, bromide gives HBr vapors, iodide gives HI vapors. All are colorless. All are pungent. All are turning blue litmus into red. All are giving precipitate with the silver nitrate. AgCl is white precipitate, AgBr is pale yellow precipitate, AgI is yellow precipitate. In this, AgCl dissolves in ammonia due to formation of complex, AgBr dissolves in ammonia due to formation of complex, whereas AgI is not dissolving in ammonia. AgI is not dissolving in ammonia. Sorry, okay. Next is chloride salt gives chlorine vapors. Chlorine vapors. Next, bromide salt gives bromine vapors. Bromine vapors. Iodide salt gives iodine vapors. Iodide salt gives iodine vapors. Okay. Now, halides on dry heating gives halogens. Previously, we have seen halides on dry heating gives hydrogen halides. Cl minus gives HCl. Now, Cl minus gives Cl2. In the previous case, Br minus gives HBr. Now, Br minus gives Br2. In the previous case, I minus gives HI. Now we are seeing I minus gives I2. Okay. So halides on dry heating gives respective halogens.